Yeah, I think that the social media in different cultures is an interesting thing to look at. I was talking with Ellen from Google, how she was saying that their Google platform isn't necessarily that big in the U.S. or Europe, but it's huge in South America and Brazil. It's huge in India, and they've taken to it. Facebook has sort of been a global phenomenon, and I think that different cultures are probably using them all differently, but I think definitely the human nature need for people to connect and connect with each other is the basis of society. I mean, it's what makes us different than any other creature. That we communicate, that we work with each other, that we have networks. So the move towards networking online is natural, and though there may be different platforms or different uses in different cultures for sure, with social media we've been able to tap into the nature of the business by connecting with people. And I think that the word of mouth is so important in experiential-based businesses. So restaurants, hotels, anything that's experience-based, people, word of mouth is so important because people talk about their experiences and people listen to other people's experiences to figure out what they're going to, what decision they're going to make in terms of purchasing. So we've been able to tap into that nature of people talking about us, word of mouth, building a buzz around that. That's something that's at the core of the hospitality business.
I think what's changed is, for good or for bad, our messages now get delivered instantaneously all across the world. Used to be they flew you to London, or they flew you to Phoenix, or they flew you to Lisbon, and you did your speech, and there was a couple hundred or a couple thousand or however many people in the audience, and that's who you impacted. And then they went out and they tried to share the message later, or they'd take the message back to their family or their workplace. Now you've got everybody sitting in the audience, tweeting. And what I'll see is when I finish a speech and I go and look on Twitter afterward, I'll see quotes of mine. I might see 15 different quotes from a 60 or 90-minute speech. Some little thing that somebody picked up, and then they tweeted that out to their followers, who might be 500 people, it might be 50,000 people. And the cumulative of this and the Facebook postings and the YouTube videos and all of that is, instead of reaching thousands of people, we reach tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people, and sometimes even millions of people.
And then in terms of the return, we've got promo codes on Twitter that we do where we can track a certain amount of room sales that by far and away covers the cost of the investment, which is me, and now Brian just recently has come across. Really, there's not a huge investment in this, and we've had a huge return. So room sales are way up. The rates are $25 a night higher than any of our other channels, so it's not a discount channel. Loyalty is through the roof. Our events business has doubled. Our bar is buzzing. So there's certainly a cash return that we can measure, and then there's this whole other thing that happens in terms of all the buzz and reputation and people knowing about us that's sort of irremeasurable sort of thing. So
certainly, to create a conversation, mediums like Twitter are much more geared to conversation. It's about that, engaging with your people. Blogs are great for engaging. Those are great for conversation thing. If you send out a newsletter, an e-zine, that's more of just speaking to people, getting a message out. Posting on a Facebook page is getting a message out. But then you've got the feed in there, and people will ask questions or make comments, and you get to respond there. So I think it's a great way to connect with our audience and our community and have that conversation.
I see many times individuals and organizations, they don't have clear goals, one. And secondly, they don't think who are now the people in the best position to help me reach that goal. Two very simple, basic questions, but many people get more lost in technology first and then start thinking, oh, I'm now spending a lot of time and maybe also money, and then, yeah, what is this about? How can it help me? But if you go to the fundamentals, goal and people in the best position, then I think it can be a very interesting tool.
Correct. There is a definite generation of digital natives, as we call it. And our personal belief is also, if we take it a bit from the smartphone to, for example, the new iPad that has been launched recently, we see that all the communication, which is now in print, will in the end will be digital. So everything that will arrive at your doormat, like your bills that you could pay with your iPad, the magazines, the newspaper, they will all be in these kind of devices. And the smartphone use always with you. So that's the first device we look at to really empower people on the move. But there will be digital screens broader than that.
So if all these people are right, what does that mean for me in the next 5 years?
If you live long enough to watch your grandchildren grow up, there is no part of their life that you will recognize if you compare it to yours. And the more I think about that one thought, the more I think we're in that kind of rate of change. I am very optimistic because in my business, change equals disruption equals opportunity. There's more of it than there has ever been.
I see a future in which we have an incredibly intelligent, argumentative, independent-minded bunch of readers who are in the vanguard of not wanting simply to have journalism shoved at them. Extra is what it sounds. It's an extra way of involving readers. It's like a mutual experiment. It's the mutualizing of a newspaper, getting both journalists and readers closer together, taking down the wall that used to exist between them, and seeing how we can jointly move on this path forward in creating the next articulation of what The Guardian should be.
Embrace technology. It was harder for me. I'm 50 years old. I was never a technology guy. I mean, I had to call my mother and get her to record Star Trek for me, okay? I fought computers, I fought email. It took me 3 years to get an email account. And then finally I said, well, would this make my life easier? And then I came to understand there's lots of technology things that may look scary on the surface, but they make your life so much easier. I'll give you an example. I mean, I just did a program in here for Amsterdam a month ago that I did from my office in Miami, that we did via iChat on my Mac with the little camera that's built in my Mac. I did a thing for 500 people sitting in my office in Miami in beautiful sunshine, 70 degrees Fahrenheit weather. It was freezing here. I didn't get on a plane. I didn't have to travel here. I still could communicate with those people. I did a program via Skype video to Kazakhstan. I've done live feeds, I've done tape feeds for Australia and different places around the world. So there's a lot of things that technology can really make it easier. And for guys in college, I don't even have to tell them. They know, they grew up with all this stuff. If you're my age, you kind of were fearful of it, but anybody who's under 30 or 35, they grew up with TV, internet, video games, whatever. They've already embraced that. So just say, okay, how can I use this technology to facilitate what it is I want to do?
What's very important is to be able to do more than one thing. It used to be that if you were a great reporter, you could do that, or on a news magazine, if you were a great writer, you could just be the prose guy or the prose woman. But now, it's what in American football we would call punt, pass, and kick. And that is, you need to be able to do it all. So now, if I'm a reporter, I need to be able to get the facts, to get people to trust me, to figure out what's going on, to do a quick story for the website, then maybe to do a longer, more sophisticated story for the newspaper or for the magazine. And then, if I'm good, I can go on the radio and talk about it, go on TV and promote it, and maybe I'll even cut a video or do a little video interview to go with it.
If I were to project the hiring of creative people into the next 3 years, I would say that the phrase that I would like to hear less and less often would be, I'm passionate about television. It's not enough to be passionate about television. It's never probably been enough to be passionate about television. It's always been a better piece of career DNA, if you like, to be passionate about ideas, because the platform on which ideas are expressed, they come and go, but the ideas themselves are what's valuable. So I'd still be looking for people with good ideas. I will unquestionably be looking for people with more exposure to technology, who are more at home in technological areas. And in some cases, I will be needing to hire, probably for the first time, people who actively develop technological applications.
Thank you, that was brilliant.